Muse for you, awesome websites without code.
Hey, what's up, Muser, and congratulations for making it this far into the course. You are now an official Muser. Today we are going to go over a summary of the course and some of the main points I'd like for you to take with you. This course was designed to lay the groundwork for building a site in Adobe Muse and to go over the main points within Adobe Muse. I used predetermined values for the breakpoints as I thought it would be the most effective way to take out the guesswork when working on the site. With that said, Adobe Muse is completely freeform and there are no rules when adding the breakpoints. You can create a completely abstract website and just add breakpoints when the site breaks to ensure that the site looks good on all devices, or you can use the predetermined values as well. One thing I would like to stress is to keep it simple. I've seen many websites with over 10 breakpoints, and that can get very complicated, especially when you are trying to make changes to the website. I'd recommend to have a good design plan before starting to build in Adobe Muse so you are not struggling with the placement of objects and then trying to rearrange them on breakpoints as well. If you are not sure about the design of your website, there are many websites online that you can take a look at for inspiration. This site was designed in Photoshop first, and then all the coordinates for each element was written down before placing into Muse. This made it really easy to go from Photoshop to Muse. I would recommend the same if design is not your strong point. You can hire a skilled designer to create the website in Photoshop and then design the site yourself in Adobe Muse. The breakpoint width used for the Photoshop file was 1600 pixels. I then rearranged the elements on different breakpoints in Adobe Muse. So here's the Photoshop file, and here's the entire website, and I'll zoom in. So if a designer designs the site for you, or if you design the site yourself in Photoshop, you can find the coordinates of each element by right-clicking and then selecting the different elements on the website and then going to the info property here within Photoshop and then clicking on properties, and it'll tell you the width and the height of the element and the coordinates within the X and Y axis. And if the site is set to the largest breakpoint that you'll be starting with, all these values will match, the X and Y coordinates will match the website in Muse as well if it is fluid width. If it is fixed width, these values won't match, but if it is fluid width, these values will match. The X and Y coordinate values will match in Adobe Muse. So that was how the site was built initially. All the coordinate values was written down and the sizes, and then everything was placed into Adobe Muse. All the assets were saved out, and then I placed everything into Muse. I added the breakpoints and then rearranged the elements on the different breakpoints. So now that we've gone over that, there's just a few other points that I'd like to go over within Adobe Muse that might be helpful when you're designing your own website. So let's say you want to send this file or send this website to someone else or save it and then work on it on another computer. You would need the assets for the file. If you just save the .muse file without the assets, the site won't work on the other computer. And this is kind of a recent feature in Muse where you can collect all the assets for the site. So to do that, you go to the assets panel here in Muse. If you don't see the assets panel, you can go to window and click on assets right up here. And then here in the assets panel, there's this little icon that looks like a briefcase. Here you can click and it says collect all assets. So I'll click here, and then you can find the folder where you want to save all of these assets. I'll go ahead and save it in the day 17 summary folder. I'll create a new folder and I'll call it assets. And I'll click on create, and then I'll select choose. And then it saves out all the assets. Here it tells me that 39 out of 39 assets were collected, which is great. So all the assets were collected for the site. So here if I go into Muse and I go into the day 17 summary, I'll double click, and here we have the assets folder. If I double click in here, we'll have all the assets for the website. So along with the .muse file and all these assets, you can transfer the site onto another computer and the site will work. Just place the Muse file in here and it should read all the assets for the website. So that's just one thing I wanted to go over. The next thing I wanted to go over is, let's say you're designing your website and you want some guidelines. You want some guides to know where to place elements, or kind of a little bit more structure to the site as you're designing it. You can go to File, Site Properties, and I'll click on Site Properties. And here for columns, right here in the Layout tab, not the Content or Advanced, in the Layout tab, you can set columns. So if I make this larger, I can set 6 columns. So there I have 6 columns within the site. I can say 12 columns. So here you can add columns to the site, and it might make designing the site easier. If you're used to working with columns and guidelines, you can add them right here in the layout section within site properties and changing the columns here. The other thing I'll go over is scroll effects. So I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel on scroll effects. When Muse first came out, it was all adaptive design, meaning there was a layout for desktop, tablet, and mobile, and that all changed when Adobe Muse brought in breakpoints and we were able to make a fluid width website. You can still use scroll effects, but you do have to use a fixed width breakpoint. So I'll show a quick example. I'll just create a new site and I'll click OK, and I'll double click on the home page, and here I'll just create a header image. So I'll create a rectangle and I'll fill this rectangle with an image. So I'll go to Fill and I'll click on Add Image, and we'll just add the Good Food background. I'll just find it really quick here. So it's right here, the header image. So I'll click and I'll say Scale to Fill and position it in the center. All right, so there I have the image. And with scroll effects, you can make things fixed within the website, and you can make things move within the website. There's a lot you can do with scroll effects. And again, I'd encourage you to watch videos on my YouTube channel because there's just a lot of information on scroll effects. For now, I'm just going to show a quick example. So I'm going to fix this image within the site, and when the user scrolls, that image is going to stay in place and the website is going to scroll over the image. So here I'll click on the image, I'll go to Fill, and if I click on Scroll, you can see it says to enable scroll effects, your breakpoint must be fixed width. And the same over here in the scroll effects panel, we need to make the breakpoint fixed width. So to do that, I'll right click on the breakpoints bar and I'll uncheck fluid width. So now it's a fixed width breakpoint, and the elements on the site won't move. It's just a fixed width. So if you resize the browser, the website will stay within that fixed width breakpoint. So now that I have a fixed width breakpoint, I can go to Fill, go to Scroll Effects. I can enable motion and just set all of this to 0 to not have that image move within the site. We also need to give this website a little bit more scroll space. So I'll just grab this tab down here and just bring it down to give the site more scroll space. So now if I go to File, Preview Page, and Browser, that image is going to stay in place and the website is going to scroll over the image. And that's just one of the things you can do with scroll effects. I have quite a few videos on different things you can do with scroll effects. You can go that direction if you want to use fixed width breakpoints. Fixed width breakpoints work a bit different. You do get a margin initially on the left and the right. So fixed width works a lot with minimum width. And also if you add breakpoints, the next breakpoint becomes the minimum width. And I might do another series on fixed width breakpoints. This course was more focused on fluid width breakpoints. But I did want to mention that in case you were wondering, I still want to use scroll effects, but they don't seem to be available. You just need to set the breakpoint to a fixed width breakpoint. The other thing I'll quickly go over is Photoshop buttons. So if you like working in Photoshop, Adobe Muse integrates really well with Photoshop. You can import layers from Photoshop and create a really unique website image with rollover effects. So for example, this looks like a simple image of a cup, but if I go to File, Preview Page, and Browser, and I hover over the cup, we have this text that says enjoy the little things. So that looks good. So I'll open up that PSD file, that Photoshop file, just to show what I did here. So it's a mug mockup, and I'll open it in Photoshop. And let me open the original actually. So let me go back in here. Yeah, I'll open up the original. So here we have an image of a mug. So what I basically did is I converted the mug without the text into a smart object, and I duplicated it, and then I used a mug with this text here, and I saved them out so they're layers within Photoshop. So let me go back in here. So I have 2 layers, one with the mug. I have one mug without the text and one mug with the text. And so what I did in Muse, I'll go ahead and delete this just to show what I did, is I went to File and I selected Place Photoshop button. So here I clicked, and then I went ahead and selected that image. So let me go back in here. So first I saved the PSD. After I edited it, I saved it. And basically you can select any layer from the layers panel to place into Muse. So here I'm going to select the .psd, so I'll double click, and Muse will come up with this Photoshop import options. So here you can select the normal state, and composite is all the layers put together, or you can select different layers from that Photoshop file. So I'm going to select the highlights layer, and the highlights layer is the layer without the text. And for the rollover state, when I hover over it, I want that to be this layer here that says your design here. And then I could also select the composite, either one. I just need the mug with the text, but I'll just select this layer here at the bottom. And mouse down state, you can have a mouse down state, you can change the layer for that, and an active state. So if this was linked to something, it would have an active state if that link was clicked on and you were on that current link. So here I'll click OK. So we have a normal state and a rollover state. And now the cup is on the place gun, and I'll just click anywhere. It's fairly large, so I'm going to resize it up here to 800 by 560. I have it constrained, so if the width changes, the height changes as well. So now I'll place it right in here, and I'll preview in the browser. And if I hover over, we have the cup. It moves a little bit, so I'm going to click on the image, go to fill, and I'm going to position it in the center rather than up here. I'm going to position the images in the center so they don't have that kind of little movement to it. And for the states, I'm going to go to the states panel right up here. Let me go right here, click on normal, and I'm going to add a transition. Usually it's like this, but if you click on transition, you can click on fade and add a nice fade effect between the states. So when I roll over, it'll have more of a fade to it. So there I go, I hover over the image and it says enjoy the little things. All right, looks good. So those are Photoshop buttons. You can basically have different layers and create a nice rollover Photoshop button within Muse. So the other thing, Adobe Muse integrates really well with Adobe Illustrator as well. So I'm going to open up an Illustrator file, and let's see here, I'll just open up this one. And with Adobe Muse and Illustrator, you can copy elements directly from Illustrator into Adobe Muse. So I can grab any of these elements, and I'll go ahead and grab this laptop here, and I can just hold down Command C to copy, go back into Muse, and hold down Command V to paste. And now I have this image of this graphic or this vector that was copied from Illustrator, and this gets pasted into Muse as an SVG or scalable vector graphic. So you can make this graphic as large or as small as you'd like, and it will not lose quality because it's actual code within the website. So it's using that code to render the graphic. So if I preview, we now have that cup. So this was Photoshop and this was Illustrator. So Adobe Muse has really good integration with Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. You can also save out images as SVG or PNG in Illustrator and just drag and drop into Muse, or fill a rectangle with those images. And the same with Photoshop, you can save PNGs and JPEGs and just place them into Muse. And what's great about SVGs as well is that you can add alternative text. So if I right click, I can go to Edit Image Properties and write a tooltip and alternative text as well. So Muse has great SVG support, and it's really great that you can copy and paste from Adobe Illustrator into Adobe Muse. Now let's go into built-in widgets in Adobe Muse. So within Adobe Muse, there's widgets that extend the functionality of Adobe Muse. We've already used a few, but there's quite a few widgets within Adobe Muse. So to add a widget, you can go to Object, and then go to Insert Widget. So Adobe Muse has buttons you can add. It has composition, so you can add a blank, featured news, lightbox display, presentation, or tooltip. And I do have videos on composition widgets. You can add a form, so you can add a simple contact form or a detailed contact. You can add a menu, horizontal or vertical, In this course, we added a horizontal menu and a vertical menu. You can add a panel, so you can add an accordion panel or tabbed panels. We use the accordion widget to add the mobile menu on the tablet and mobile breakpoints. And you can add a slideshow, so you can add a basic, blank, full screen, lightbox, or thumbnail slideshow. And the slideshow and composition widgets, those will be responsive very soon, I think in the next release. The Adobe Muse team is currently working on that. And you can go online and just type in Adobe Muse pre-release to see what the Adobe Muse team is working on and any updates to Adobe Muse. So those are the slideshows. You can add social widgets. So here, I'll go down. You can add an Adobe Muse badge, Facebook like, Facebook follow, Facebook comment, Google Maps, Google+, LinkedIn, PayPal, Pinterest, Twitter follow, Twitter tweet, a Vimeo video, and a YouTube video. So if I were to select Vimeo, I could add a Vimeo video, and then within the widget options, I could just enter the video ID. So I could go to, vimeo.com, and I could select any video here. And so if I select this one, and I'll pause it, and just select the Vimeo ID right after vimeo.com and the / there, and then paste it into the widget options right in here. And then there's a few widget options here as well. You can also add a YouTube video. So if I go to Object, Insert Widget, Social, and YouTube, I could add a YouTube video, and then I can enter in the video ID. I can change the theme, the progress color, start time, and these options here as well. You can also have an e-commerce store. You can add a PayPal button. So I'll go to Object, Insert Widget, Social, and I'll select PayPal. And you can add a PayPal button to the site. And for the type, you can have buy now, pay now, donate, add to cart, view cart, custom buy, custom donate, custom add to cart, and custom view cart. With the custom buttons, you can add your own image for the button. And then you can set up all the options here within the widget options: the size, email, amount, currency, item name, item number, tax rate, and shipping cost. So you can have a nice e-commerce site within Muse. I do have a video tutorial on different e-commerce services as well on my YouTube channel. And if you go to museforyoushop.com, there's a video on different e-commerce platforms and services that you can integrate into Adobe Muse, like Selfie, Gumroad, and Pulley. So along with the built-in widgets, there are also third-party widgets. I myself have over 100 widgets found at museforyoushop.com. So I'll go ahead and go over to museforyoushop.com. I'll close these tabs here and just reopen here. And I'll go to museforyoushop.com. So here we have a pop-up, and here you can click subscribe now to go browse the widgets. For now, let's take a look at the site. So here we have the header, and this site was built in Muse as well. So here we have widgets for you, graphics for you, tutorials for you, and updates for you. And here we have a few of the best-selling widgets, and we have the subscription. And with the Muse for You subscription, you get access to all widgets that are in the shop. And I highly recommend the subscription because you get access to all the widgets, and you get a new widget every week, as well as updates to current widgets. So that is the subscription. It is $39 a year. You get access to all widgets and updates to current widgets, and I come out with a new widget every week. I also create tutorials for each of the widgets. And I'll scroll down here. That's me, John Ramos, Muse developer, certified expert, and I was a guest speaker at the Adobe Max conference in San Diego, California. And you can subscribe to the newsletter as well. And here in the footer section, you can click on Meet the Guide to find more information about me. And here you can click on blog. I write articles for webdesignledger.com, so you can check out those articles by going to the blog section here within the footer. Here's an affiliate program if you're interested in the affiliate program. Here are the terms and conditions. Here are the widgets, tutorials, and the SVG morph. It's its own separate widget, and web hosting as well. If you're looking for web hosting, you can also click here to go to the Creative Cloud website to download Adobe Muse. So, and here is social media as well: Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube. So I'll go ahead and click on tutorials right up here in the menu. And here you can check out the different tutorials. These are all on my YouTube channel, or you can go directly to the YouTube channel by clicking on the Muse for You logo. And here we have the YouTube channel as well. And now I'll go to the widgets page. So here we're on the widgets page. Here you can click subscribe now to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. And here are all the widgets that are included within the subscription. So you can go through and take a look at all the widgets. Each widget has a preview page. You can also subscribe for $39 a year. If you would like to purchase individually, you can click add to cart right up here. And here are the features included. Most of the widgets have a video on how to use the widget. There's a community section if you had any questions about the widget as well. And the widget options here to the left. So most of the widget options show here. Some widgets have quite a few widget options. So there's just a few images of the widget options. All right, so that is museforyoushop.com, the tutorials, widgets. You can click on FAQ to check out the frequently asked questions. The blog again goes to webdesignledger.com. And if you do have a subscription, you can click on access and enter your email to get an email resent to you with access to the subscription. And get in touch, you can send me an email here as well. All right, so that is museforyoushop.com. So now I'm going to go over a few of the widgets found at museforyoushop.com just to show how much you can do with these widgets. So the first widget I'm going to go over is the Lightbox widget. So here I'm back on the website, and right here, rather than having this read more button, and actually let me take off the columns here. So I'm going to go to site properties, and for the columns, I'm going to say 0. All right, so here we have the read more button. So rather than this read more button, I want a play button that opens a YouTube video. So I'm going to go ahead and just hide these elements here. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say hide in breakpoint. And I'm on the largest breakpoint here. So now I'm going to create a button right underneath the title text and this tagline here. So to create a circle, I'm going to create a circle here. So to create a circle, you click and hold on the rectangle tool and select the ellipse tool. And then I'll hold down shift to create a perfect circle. So I'll create a 100 by 100 circle, just like that. And I'll place it in the center. So I'll go to align and center. And then I'll go to fill right up here. I'll select gradient. And then for the first color, I'll select this pink color. The second color, I'll select this peach color. And let's see how that looks. Yep, that looks good there. So we have the circle with the gradient, and I'll go into my Finder here, and I have this arrow.svg. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag, place right in there, and I'll place it like that. I'll hold down, or I'll grab one of the corners, hold down shift, and just rotate it to 90 degrees, and then place that icon within the circle. So it looks like a play button. So now we have a play button right underneath the title and the tagline. So now I want to bring in the Lightbox widget so that when we click on the play button, it opens a YouTube video. So to do that, I'm going to go to the library panel. And if you don't see the library panel, you can go to window and click on library. And here I'm going to type in the Lightbox. And I'm going to bring in the Lightbox add first with gradient. So here I'm going to click, hold, and drag. And then for the gradient, the background of the Lightbox, the first color, I want it to be this pink color, the second color, this peach color, and I'll leave the gradient angle at 120. All right, and then I'll bring in the Lightbox widget here. So I'll click, hold, and drag, place into Muse, and we can see here the graphic style name is lbox1. So that's the graphic style name that I have to apply to the elements that I want to trigger the Lightbox. So here I'm going to click on the circle with the gradient. I'll click here. I'll go to the graphic styles panel here to the right. And if you don't see the graphic styles panel, you can go to window and click on graphic styles. And here I'll create a new graphic style by clicking on this icon here. That looks like a piece of paper with a folded corner. So I'll click there. I'll double click on style. And I'll rename this graphic style to lbox1. Because that's the graphic style name that is in the widget right here. It's lbox1. All right, so now that's applied there, and I'll apply it to this image of the play button as well. So if the user clicks here, the Lightbox will open as well. So I'll just select the image and click on lbox1. So now the circle and the image have lbox1 applied to it. For the image, we can see it applied a gradient in the background. I'll just go to fill and I'll select solid and I'll say none for the background. There we go. So we don't have that background. So the graphic style had the gradient properties applied to it, so it added it to the image here, but I just removed it there. So they both have the graphic style LBox1. So I'll select both of these elements by holding down Shift, and then I'm going to go grab a YouTube video from my YouTube channel. So I just grabbed a YouTube link from one of the YouTube videos on the Muse for You YouTube channel. So with both of these elements selected, I'll go to the hyperlink section right up here, and I'll link both these elements to the YouTube video, and I'll select enter. So now when these elements are clicked on, they will open a lightbox. So let me go to File, and I'll preview in the browser. And let me make this circle not responsive. I'll select it, go to the resize option and say none. Okay, and the same with the play button. The resize, I'll say none. Or I can go to the left here and select the resize option as well. So now I'll preview in the browser. And here we have the play button. It's a little bit off. And let me pin both of these elements to the center of the page. Perfect. So I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. And here we have the play button. So if I click, it opens the lightbox. And I have a video here as well. All right, so that's using the lightbox widget. So I'll go to museforYouShop.com. I'll click here, and the lightbox widget is right here. So you can link YouTube videos, Vimeo videos, websites, images, and Google Maps within the lightbox. So it's a nice feature here. Rather than the user having to read information, they can click and watch a video right away from the site. All right, so that is the lightbox widget. The other widget I'll go over is the responsive lightbox gallery here. So with this widget, I have it right here. So this widget, you can have a lightbox gallery on your site. So I'll preview to showcase it. And if I click, these are hover boxes as well. And I have over 10 different hover boxes on museforYouShop.com where you hover over an image and you can add text over the image when the user hovers over it. So if I click on any of these images, if I click, it opens up a lightbox. And I can go through, I can autoplay the lightbox, I can view it full screen, I can zoom into the image, I can pause and play, just like that. I can download the image, and all these options are customizable within the widget options. So this is a very popular widget at museforYouShop.com, as you can add your own gallery to your site, just like that. And there are many options so you can customize the gallery. You can add the gallery with thumbnails or assign an element to open the gallery. And I have a few video tutorials on the responsive lightbox gallery. All right, so that is the responsive lightbox gallery, and I do have quite a few hover boxes as well at museforYouShop.com. So the other widget I'll show here is the SVG draw widget. With this widget, you can draw SVG files. So I'll just preview, and there we go, it looks good. And then you can fill the element with the color as well. You can fill the SVG with the color. I was gonna showcase how to do this, but I feel the video is getting a bit long. I do have plenty of video tutorials on using the SVG draw widget. And the last widget I'll go over here is the animator widget. So let me just grab a file from Illustrator or an image, and let's see. So I'll grab this one here. So I'll just copy and paste, Command C, or we'll copy this one here of the tablet. So I'll copy that and I'll paste into Muse. So now we have this image. I'll make it a bit larger, and we'll assign some animations to it. So here I'll go to the library panel, and I'll type in animator, just like that, ANMTR, and I'll bring in the animator add first. So I'll click, hold, and drag, place into Muse, and I'll bring in the animator. Let's do on load first. And with the animator, you can choose from 139 different animations. So let's say I want to have this element bounce in left. So I'll select that, and then I want to assign the graphic style name that's in here. I want to assign it to this element. So I'll click on the element, I'll go to the graphic styles panel, I'll create a new graphic style, and I'll double click, and I'll call this graphic style animate1 because that's the name that is in the widget. So now I'll preview in the browser, and the element bounces in from the left. So there's 139 different animations to really add some interest to elements on your website. We can do rotate out, down, right, and I'll preview, and we can see that there. So that's kind of a fade out effect. And there we go. And there's quite a few options. You can set a delay, the duration of the animation, the iteration. You can loop the animation, the initial opacity. You can enable a fade into the element as it animates and a fade out. And you can disable it at a breakpoint. And there's instructions on how to use here as well within the widget options. I try to add as many instructions as I can within the widget, so it's easy to use when you're using the widget. All right, so that is the animator. You can have the animator on load, on click. So I can do animator. So I can do the animator on click, on hover, on load, or on scroll. And the animator within Muse for You Shop is right down here. Here's the animator. And if you like animations, I'd also recommend the Muse Motion widget and the Muse Motion 2 widget. These widgets are powered by the GreenSock animation platform, or GSAP from GreenSock, and GSAP from GreenSock uses a really sophisticated animation engine. So you can do a lot with these widgets. You can sequence animations, you can rotate, translate, skew. So if I click on preview, we can see letters animating. So we have Muse, and then we have Motion 2. All right, and you can play it again, reverse, restart, the animation looks good. So all this can be found at museforyoushop.com. I'm not gonna go over too much more because I feel this video is fairly long at the moment, but you can go ahead and look at all the preview pages and all the widgets that are available. And I have tutorials for most of the widgets on here. All right, so that is it for the summary. It's a fairly long summary, but there are things that I did want to cover because now that you know how to build a website in Adobe Muse, there are more things to add more functionality to your website. So we are now done with the Building a Chef Website course in Adobe Muse. Just a few other main points. If design isn't your strong point, I'd suggest hiring a designer and having them build a Photoshop file, and then you can build the website from the Photoshop file. There's plenty of inspiration online. If you'd like to see the design of different websites and get inspired from those websites, I'd recommend Bluehost Hosting as they have great customer support. When you add images to your website, if the images are really large, I'd recommend compressing the images. There's links in the description area below to other resources. So resources like compressedjpeg.com and compressedpng.com. For more tutorials and widgets for Adobe Muse, I just went over it, but you can go to museforyoushop.com, and here you can click on the pop-up to go to the widget page. You can subscribe for $39 a year to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. And in the tutorial section, you can view more tutorials, or you could go directly to the YouTube channel here as well. All right, and I'll go back here and check back regularly for new video tutorials and new widgets. So we are now done with day 17 and the summary. I'll just go back to the summary folder, to the day 17 folder. So here I'm in the course folder, I'll double click, and we have the day 17 summary. So I'll double click here. So we went over final thoughts, key points, widgets, museforyoushop.com, and starting your own website. So I covered that, I think, with Bluehost and all the information that was given throughout the course. You can now use that to start your own website. So here we have a congratulations PNG. So I'll double click and it says congratulations, you have now completed the Building a Chef website in Adobe Muse. You are now an official Muser. And if you've watched all the videos, congratulations. I know I've given a lot of information. Doing these video tutorials has been a process, but I'm really happy to have done it because I wanted to give a solid foundation on how to use Adobe Muse. And then we have this congratulations.pdf. So I'll double click and it says congratulations, you have now completed the Building a Chef website in Adobe Muse course. Now use this new skill to build your own website. Visit museforyoushop.com for more video tutorials and widgets to help you do more in Adobe Muse. So that is it for the 17-day course. Congratulations, you have now completed it. I do welcome any comments or questions in the description area below. Again, thank you. There'll be many more videos to come and many more widgets to come. And thank you everyone who has supported me with, purchasing the subscription and buying widgets. It's been a really fun ride, and I'm really, really happy to have provided this course. So again, thank you and happy musing. And if you like this course and video tutorials, you can subscribe below as well. Thank you.
Muse for you, awesome websites without code.